Good morning, students. Sorry for this delay. I was having actually coffee, right? Today, 6th of August, and we are discussing the Indian Express analysis, which goes live every day at 11 a.m. So, in our today's discussion, we'll cover important news and articles from the Indian Express. Yes, the class that I take earlier, it ended at 10:58. So, that is why I was taking a break so that I can resume these sessions with equal energy, right? Now, the articles that we are going to cover today, the first one obviously is the left out article from yesterday. Now, Donald Trump made a statement, very controversial statement, that Indian economy is dead. So, is Indian economy actually dead? We'll try to understand this in our today's discussion. This is relevant from GS paper 3 perspective because first of all, it deals with very core issues of Indian economy. So, whenever a question on Indian economy comes, you'll have to start those questions with a very important fact. All of these facts I will tell you in our today's discussion, which you can in n number of ways use them in your answer writing. In the second article, we'll try to understand what are denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. These are known as DNT tribes. Now, they have been in news because these people, they are demanding a separate commission who will look after the benefits of DNT tribes, right? So, we'll try to understand who these tribes are actually. Now, this is relevant from GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. First of all, why GS paper 2? Because these form vulnerable section in Indian society and hence we are going to cover it in the second article. In the third article, we are going to cover Dhauliganga river. This is a river in Uttarakhand. Where does it originate from? What are the different tributaries? Which river is Dhauliganga tributary of? What are the important cities through which this river flows? Everything we'll try to understand in our discussion. And this is relevant from GS paper 1 perspective, that is Indian economy. In the fourth article, we are going to cover Sea of Japan because Russia and China, they have been involved in a naval drill which is happening in the water bodies of Sea of Japan. So, this water body automatically becomes important from our exam because of places in news perspective, right? So, this is important from places in news perspective. And in the last article, we are going to cover a very important species, Asian giant tortoise, right? These are critically endangered species. So, that is why these kind of species, whenever they appear in the news, we sure have to cover it. So, these are the 5 articles that we are going to cover today. And the notes, as usual, they will be available on the Telegram channel, that is the ATS live channel. Yes, aspirant, well, there was this article in the explain section today about the Uttarkashi cloudburst, but that was a very localized article. It discussed the geography of Uttarkashi. So, that is why I did not cover it today because geography of one particular region is not that important. If an article comes on the entire geography of the Himalayas, that would make it important from UPSC exams perspective. That is why I am not covering that article today. Let more article or better article come on these news developments. We will cover it for sure in detail. No need to worry about it. So, good morning. Let me see who all have come. Give me a second. Good morning, Anandu, Rishi, Suruprabhat, Benjir, good morning. Yashi, I'm good. How are you? Good, Yashi. Kharbudon, good morning. Kharbudon has also become very regular. Good to see that. Happy, good morning. Baga, good morning. Hi to Amar. Oshika, Dheeraj. Dheeraj, रात में क्या हो गया था? ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो? Do you read 10 different subjects in a day? Try to read 1 at max 2 subjects in a day. Otherwise, you will get all hodgepodge. Stuti, good morning. अरे अंकित नहीं आए तो मैं ही हूँ, सॉरी. सुष्मिता, गुड मॉर्निंग. मामीम, गुड मॉर्निंग. रजनीश, वीनस, ऋषि, अमर, काइजन, सोनू, जूई, सांत्वना, वेंकट, कंचन, विशाल, पुनीत, प्रणाम. Disha, good morning. Vinodini, Gokulesh, NS, good morning to you all. How's the weather at your place today? In Delhi, it's neither great nor terrible. So, if you have seen Chernobyl series, you'll remember the reference I'm trying to give. Nor great, nor terrible. Okay. So, the notes will be available on ATS live channel. With this, let us start with the first article. This article actually goes into detail whether Indian economy is dead or not, right? So we'll start by understanding this article. First of all, these kind of questions directly or indirectly can be asked you in mains or even in an interview. So in a panelist, whenever you're giving the interview of UPSC, they'll ask you a question. Do you feel Indian economy is dead? And you simply can't get away by saying just yes or no. Whatever be your answer, you may say yes, you may say no, but you will have to corroborate your answers with good facts. So how would you know good facts? By watching these sessions, right? Okay. So the context is that after, see the audacity of Donald Trump, after imposing 25% tariff on India, Donald Trump posted on social media that he did not care if India and Russia take their dead economies down together. First of all, this measure itself is quite contrary. First of all, if you think Indian and Russian economy are dead, then why are you imposing tariff, right? But this won't suffice you with a certain example in the UPSC interview. You'll have to corroborate using good examples and good facts, right? So let us understand what is India's status as a economy in world. Now India is among the fastest growing major economy and it is expected to become third largest economy globally in next few years, surpassing Japan. Similarly, the GDP of India in 2025 was nearly 12 times more than it was 30 years back. So you can say that our GDP has increased 12 times in last 3 decades. That is why we are a very good economy. Now, IMF stated that in terms of global growth, 16% of global growth is coming from which country? Our dear motherland. And earlier, at that time in the early 2010s, India was seen as a fragile 5 economy. But now it has emerged as a bright spot among the all global major economies. And this is due to the fact our exports have increased, our manufacturing have increased, though it has been not uniform across all sectors. Do not worry, we'll discuss it. So these are the facts that you can utilize to support your arguments. Now, is Indian economy dead as Trump has claimed? The answer is no, obviously, because this is a politically charged and on top of that, a factually incorrect statement. For example, let us compare India's economy with other countries. India's economy has grown more rapidly as compared to all major Western economies. In 1995, Indian economy was about 5% the size of US economy. Now in 2025, it has nearly become 14% to the size of US economy. How would have we grown in comparison to US had we been a dead economy, right? Only India, China and Russia have grown relatively better than as compared to US, and India here stands at the top. Similarly, as compared to Japan, whose economy has grown slower in 2025 as compared to 1995, India has made a substantial economic progress, increasing by 14 times more in the last decade, right? Now, this does not mean that Indian economy does not have any concern. It has, obviously. First of all, that our growth or our annual GDP growth rate has been slower since 2011-12 as compared to the first decade of the new millennium. Therefore, earlier we were growing out with an average of about 7.5 to 8%. Now, since last 15 years, we are growing at about an average of 6%. So, we have witnessed slower economic growth. Similarly, India's manufacturing sector, as I have told you multiple times, it witnessing underperformance. For example, growth of manufacturing sector is only 4% on an average basis in the last 5 years, whereas agriculture has grown better as compared to manufacturing sector. India's manufacturing sector even today contributes to about 17 to 18% of GDP, which has remained stagnated since 1991 reforms. So this is a big form of worry. Why? To make any country industrialized, you need manufacturing sector. And another better thing about manufacturing sector that it provides a lot of employment. So when we have directly transformed from a agriculture based economy to a service based economy, we haven't been able to provide so much jobs to Indian population, and that is why you'll hear the term jobless growth quite frequently used in the exam, right? Similarly, India also is not able to export as much as goods and services as it wanted. For example, in global goods trade, India only accounts for about 1.8% of global goods trade, whereas service we fare somewhat better, but it is only 4.5% of global service trade. Similarly, there are also rural distress that happens, and this is due to the factor of rain-fed agriculture. As 55% of our total gross cropped area still remains rain-fed, therefore rainfall provides a very important parameter on success or failure of agriculture. So if rainfall is good, our agriculture would be good, and if rainfall is not so good, our agriculture would suffer. So this invariably puts the lives and income of farmers at a risk, right? So these are the concerns that exist for India. Another concern is widening inequality. Now, there was this figure recently that we have been able to reduce extreme poverty in India. That is correct. Earlier, extreme poverty in India in 2011 and 12 was 27.1%. Now, it has reduced by 4 times. But even today, the top 10% of Indian citizens, they hold as much as 77% of national wealth. And which is the index that we use to calculate inequality? Any idea? We have discussed it already. Similarly, one another problem that we are facing is that we are not able to encourage women living in India to participate in workforce. So essentially, roughly if you assume that 50% of our population is men, 50% of our population are women. So if you are unable to pull out a majority section of your work or your population into workforce, automatically you are not able to put them at productive use. Therefore, first of all, our female labor force participation has been low. Yes, Lorentz curve is right, Gini coefficient, good. So our female labor force participation was around 24%. Now it has increased to about 37%, but it is still well below the comparable countries. For example, in China, it is more than 60%. So therefore, we suffer in encouraging women to participate in our workforce, and this is maybe due to weak human development. First of all, health and education outcomes have remained quite abysmal. And in addition to that, whenever people get educated, their employment requirement or their skill requirement is not matching with what is expected by the industry. So because of all these factors, the concerns still continue to remain for India. But it does not mean that you can't suggest any way out of this situation. Whenever you are going to write an answer, just do not stop by mentioning the shortcomings. You, being an aspiring bureaucrat, you should have a positive outlook. And this positive outlook means that you are good enough to identify the problems, but you are even better in finalizing or suggesting solutions to that problem, right? So the solution is that, first of all, we for sure need to boost manufacturing. And for that, we can strengthen PLI scheme, support smaller industries like expanding the companies under PLI. This is one of the examples, right? Similarly, we also need to expand exports, and for that we need to sign trade deals with more countries, and we also need to improve our logistics, because our cost with respect to logistics is about 14% of GDP, and therefore when so much money you're spending on transport, your overall cost increases. So whenever you want to promote your exports, you need to bring down the cost of your items, and this you can do so by improving the logistics. For example, the recent trade deal signed between India and UK is an example how you should do that with other countries also. Similarly, you also need to strengthen your rural economy. You need to support agri-processing so that farmers get good income for their produce and also the food wastage gets reduced. For example, there was this PM formalization of micro food enterprises scheme. This is a very good example of that. Also, we need to tackle inequality. We can do so by more direct benefit transfer schemes, reforming the taxation system, including more people in the direct tax net, and using the income from these taxation to give it to people for more productive work like Manrega, right? So this is what we need to do. In addition to that, we also need to empower women. We can encourage their skilling and promote entrepreneurship in them. For example, 70% of small loans under Mudra, they are given to women. Also, we need to align education with the jobs. We also need to formally educate them, and we also need to enable them to get skills which are relevant for the industry. So here the existing schemes of Government of India can play a very important role. In addition to that, we also need to invest in our health and education. If the workforce isn't healthy, how do you think they will be able to participate in their work obligations? They won't be, right? So that we need more public spending, we need good schools, better hospitals and better colleges, right? So all of this are the example what you can suggest whenever such kind of questions are thrown at you during the mains or interview. You can also try to practice this answer. Do you agree with the recent claim that India's economy is dead? Give reasons to support your answer with reference to key economic indicators and long-term trends. Okay. So please make these kind of answers very enriched in facts and also arguments. Now let us move to another article. This article talks about the growing call of a permanent national commission for DNTs. So you must be wondering, what are DNTs? Now community leaders are demanding the establishment of permanent national commission for denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. Now Dheeraj sir, is there any relationship between Nisar satellite and tariff? No, no relationship. So we are going to understand what are DNT tribes. Okay, now these are different kinds of tribes that have been categorized into one category. Now, denotified tribes, these are communities. They were earlier listed as criminal tribes based on a British era act known as Criminal Tribes Act of 1971, and this act continued till 1947. So, independent India government, it denotified them tribes because by virtue of inclusion of some tribes in this list, they were thought of as criminals, which obviously is incorrect. Nobody can be a criminal just by a virtue they were born in a particular community. You can be criminal only because of your own actions, right? So that is why government tried to delegitimize this idea and they tried to denotify them by bringing or repealing the earlier act that was a British era act. Similarly, the nomadic tribes are the tribal groups or groups of people those have historically practiced seasonal or periodic migration as a livelihood strategy. So these people, they were not settling in a permanent area, that is why they were called as nomadic tribes. Similarly, semi-nomadic tribes are the ones that move less frequently as compared to normal tribes, and they also move on a shorter distances as compared to fully nomadic tribes. So these three different peoples now have been categorized into one idea or one name, that is DNT tribes. Okay. Now over 10% of Indians, they belong to more than 1400 DNT tribes that it is expected to be present in India right now, and these groups, they are spread across obviously various states and they have different socio-economic challenges, right? Now many DNTs right now, they fall under the existing categories of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and OBCs, but even then they face exclusion from many mainstream welfare schemes. So to identify their problems, to identify their numbers and identities, government has set up two different commissions at different times. One was Renke Commission, whose purpose was to identify and list the DNT communities, and Idate Commission, which was tasked with creating a state-wise list and recommending what welfare measures should government adopt. And this tenure of this last committee was 3 years, right? So these are the two committees. Whenever these are asked in the exam, you remember these are for DNTs. Now government has also brought in many schemes for these people. First is Dr. Ambedkar pre-matric and post-matric scholarship for DNTs. It was launched in 2015-16 and it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored scheme, you understand, the funding is shared between union and state government. So implementation is through funding sharing of 75-25. Please remember the sharing. And students who are not covered under these existing categories, they will receive monetary benefits from the government, and only those students whose total parental income is less than or equal to 2 lakh rupees per annum. Now, what are the benefits? They will get scholarship, and these scholarship will be available for before 10th at this rate, and after 10th, that is, hostlers will get this much amount of money and day scholars will get this much amount of money every year, right? So these are the benefits that are provided under Dr. Ambedkar scheme. Similarly, there is another scheme, Nanaji Deshmukh scheme for construction of hostels for DNTs. It is also centrally sponsored scheme, and the target here is the same as the previous scheme, who are pursuing higher education and they do not are covered in the existing categories that are enumerated by the government. Parental income needs to be less than or equal to 2 lakh rupees, and it is implemented through various state, central and union territory higher education institutions. Here the support of up to 500 hostel seats per year is provided nationwide, and the cost norm is that 3 lakh rupees per seat will be provided to these hostels and 5,000 rupees additional will be provided for furniture procurement purposes. This funding is provided to the people who are constructing the hostels, not directly to the students, and funding pattern is same as last scheme, that is 75-25. Okay. Now let's see if you are able to solve this question. Well, first two are incorrect. Denotified weren't granted the status of STs automatically. Some of them are included in STs, some SCs, some OBCs. So first obviously is incorrect. They weren't historically settled. That is why the name nomadic tribe has been given. It has been their habit of moving around. Okay. Third is correct, and we have to identify correct statement. So option C. Yes, all of you are right. Now, in Chamoli district, 12 laborers were injured because of a landslide that happened in near a hydropower project. Now, this landslide happened on a project known as Vishnugad Hydroelectric Project, which has been situated on Dhauli Ganga River in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. So, let us understand first of all few facts relating to Dhauli Ganga River. Dhauli Ganga River originates near Niti Pass, which is on the border of India in Uttarakhand with the India's border with China. So in Garhwal region, there is this Niti Pass from where very near to it Dhauli Ganga emerges, and it is joined by Rishi Ganga River at Raini, which is a region notable for its ecological security. So Dhauli Ganga meets which river? Rishi Ganga. Okay. There is one Rishi Pandey, right? Rishi Pandey खुश अपना नाम देख के. Now, Dhauli Ganga is a tributary of river Alaknanda. Therefore, other major tributaries of Alaknanda are also important. Nandakini, Pindar, Mandakini and Bhagirathi. Right? So, DP, NMB. DP देख के Nandakini, Mandakini भाग गई. This is how I remembered it. Okay? I know it's not very memory friendly, but I hope you should remember it. So the 5 tributaries of Alaknanda are Dhauli Ganga, Nandakini, Pindar, Mandakini and Bhagirathi. Okay. Now the confluence point is that Dhauli Ganga merges with Alaknanda river at a particular place known as Vishnu Prayag, and this Vishnu Prayag is one of the Panch Prayags of Uttarakhand. What are other important Prayags of Uttarakhand? Can anyone recall from this image? See, Dhauli Ganga is meeting with Alaknanda, which comes from Bhagirathi here at Vishnu Prayag. This continues at Alaknanda and receives Nandakini river at Nand Prayag. Similarly, Pindar Ganga joins Alaknanda at Kan Prayag, Mandakini joins it at Rudra Prayag, and Bhagirathi, which originates from Gangotri, meets it at Dev Prayag, and hence onwards it is called as Ganga. And Ganga meets Yamuna, which emerges from where? Yamunotri. Understand? So these 4 important What are they called? I forgot. Char Dhams of Uttarakhand. These lead to important rivers here. Which river emerges from Badrinath? Alaknanda, from Kedarnath, Mandakini, from Gangotri, Bhagirathi, and from Yamunotri, Yamuna. Right? And Prayags, the word itself, Prayag means confluence of river. So therefore, confluence of Yamuna with Ganga is at where? I've been meaning to visit Kedarnath for God knows how long. But for many reasons, I am unable to. Mainly because of work, sorry. Prayagraj, good. So Prayag was the ancient name of Allahabad. Then it was changed to Allahabad. Now the government has changed it back again to Prayagraj. Sangam, yes, good. Now, length of Dhauli Ganga is approximately 94 kilometers, and there is this town near to Rishikesh, Tapovan, and it is the town where known for natural springs, and it lies alongside the banks of Dhauli Ganga river. Okay. Now, major hydroelectric power projects in Uttarakhand. First is Maneri Bhali, which is there on Bhagirathi river. Similarly, Latha Tapovan is on Dhauli Ganga. Right? So, Bhagirathi, one is Maneri Bhali, one and second. Another one is Tehri Dam, which is located also on Bhagirathi in Tehri Galwar region, and Koteshwar Hydroelectric Power Project in Bhagirathi downstream of Tehri Dam. Okay, so these are the important hydropower projects which you need to remember because these are in news for one or different reasons. Now, which one of the above are tributaries of Alaknanda? These are the tributaries of Dhauli Ganga, sorry, Alaknanda. So, Dhauli Ganga is, Pindar is, Bhagirathi and Nandakini. Am I right? Bhagirathi isn't. Bhagirathi was, right? Let me remember it. Yes, Bhagirathi. So sorry if I have made it incorrectly. All of them are right. When I was making this question, I had something in mind which I eventually forgot to incorporate it. Okay. So all of them are. Sorry for that. When you have too much work, you forget what you are doing. NMBDP. That is also good. Now, how many of you are afraid of economy? How many of you are afraid of economy? Why, Rajneesh? Why, Dheeraj? Why are you afraid of economy? समझ नहीं आता. Mamim also afraid. Kanchan also afraid. Why are you guys afraid of economy? Economy के दांत हैं. No, right? Well, economy is very interesting. Once you get an interest in that subject, other subject becomes boring. For me, that's the case. Bouncer jata hai. Well, it's not bouncer. If you know one thing, you can relate it with other things also. You don't have to remember a lot in economy, not more than polity for sure, or not more than history for sure. Well, if you want, you can take admission to resolution batches. Here, I teach economy, and let me assure you one thing: if you get educated from me in these batches, now your entire fear of economy will be gone. Okay? Formulas कौन बोलता है formulas याद रखने को? Don't have to. You don't have to remember anything. You can just imagine economy. सोते जागते economy नजर आएगा. Now let us move ahead with this article. This talks about drill in Sea of Japan, right? Look, give me a second. Okay, give me a second. I'll come back. Sorry for this interruption. So we were discussing Sea of Japan, okay? Now the context is China and Russia, they began their joint naval drill known as Joint Sea 2025 in the water body Sea of Japan. This is the Sea of Japan. So you can see the countries around it. On the north there is Japan and this part of Russia, right? Which is this part of Russia? Can anyone let me know? We'll discuss it, no need to worry. Towards its west it's Russia, North Korea, South Korea. Towards its south, there is Japan. That is the mainland of Japan where Tokyo is situated. So this is Hokkaido, this is Honshu, and this is another island which I am forgetting. Okay. Now this is also called as East Sea. It is a marginal sea on the western part of Pacific Ocean. Vladivostok. Well, it is, yes, Sakhalin is the region. Sorry, Sakhalin. So the borders of east of Japan or the Sea of Japan or East Sea is Japan and Sakhalin on the east, on this part. In the west, it's mainland Russia, North Korea and South Korea. So this mainland Russia, North Korea, South Korea on its west. Similarly, कहाँ गया वो? So these are the countries that you'll have to remember. These are the bordering countries. 5 countries are there. Sorry, 4: Japan, Russia, North Korea, South Korea. So these are the 4 countries that are bordering the Sea of Japan. There is no China here. Please remember it. Kyushu, yes. Kyushu, good. Thank you. Now the major straits are also very important because these straits, only using it you can enter, right? So the straits on the south are Tsushima Strait as well as Korea Strait here. Similarly, on the north, there are Leparu Strait here and Tatar Strait must be here. Tatar Strait is on the north extremely. On the east, there is Tsugaru Strait. So all of these are important straits that you have to remember. What are straits? Can anyone let me know what are straits? Well, I don't think so. North Korea's dictatorship will end. You know why won't it be end? Because that is a closed country. It is literally having very minimum communication from outside world. To conduct any kind of resolution, you need to first of all inspire people. To inspire people, you need to communicate with them. How will you be able to communicate or inspire people if there is no communication? Panchayat mein, in Panchayat, when does Binod revolt? When he was inspired or poked by Banrakas, right? So then only he decided to openly defecate. Otherwise, idea कहाँ से आता विनोद को कि हमें वहीं defecate करना है in front of DM ma'am. So whenever you become DM, one of your responsibilities will also to ensure that your jurisdiction says open defecation free. Yes, all of you are right about strait. It is a narrow water body which connects two large water bodies, and it is also a narrow water body sandwiched between two lands, right? Now major straits on the east are Tsugaru Strait and Kunmon Strait, right? Whereas Kunmon Strait, I saw it, I am not able to see it. Must be here, not mentioned in this map, right? So these are the important straits that you'll have to remember. And why can't revolt happen in North Korea? Because you can't inspire North Korean people. उन्हें इंस्पायर करने की क्या जरूरत है? साउथ कोरियन ड्रामा दे दो. They'll always be revolting after that. Now tell me this question. There was this question in 2014 on Turkey. Now similar question I have curated on Japan. Japan is located between which? Good. Sea of Japan and East China Sea. You can see it from here. East China Sea here, Sea is Japan is here, Japan is located here, right? Now moving back to this article, it talks about large Asian tortoise, right? It has been found in the Nagaland Community Reserve. This is the tortoise we are talking about. See how good it looks. Now Asian joint tortoise has been reintroduced into the Zeliang Community Reserve in Nagaland, right? So here obviously our attention is towards the Asian giant tortoise. It is the largest land tortoise in the entire of mainland Asia. Whenever we discuss about any species, we discuss habitats, habits and protection status. So let us first discuss known habitats of this species. They are spread across tropical and subtropical forest. In India, they are mainly found in the northeastern part of our country in Nagaland and Arunachal. Whereas in other countries, they are found in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia and Indonesia. And the preference is that they prefer dense, moist lowland and hill forests which are rich in leaf litter and undergrowth. Because tortoise, unlike giraffe, won't be able to reach the trees. So they obviously would eat grass, right? Don't joke, Shushmita. People know what to eat and not to eat, right? Now let us discuss about their known habits. Now first of all, they are diurnal, solitary and they thrive in humid condition. Can anyone let me know what is diurnal? Can anyone let me know what is diurnal? They are also herbivorous. They eat leaves, fruits, mushrooms and decomposing plant material. They are also known as small elephants of forest, because first of all they aid in seed dispersal. How? First of all, they consume fruits, and when they defecate, the seeds of these fruits, they are spread across the large area. Therefore it happens or helps in nutrient recycling and forest regeneration. Now diurnal means you stay up during the day and sleep at the night. This is opposite of nocturnal. Nocturnal are bats who are active during the night and sleep during the day. Similarly, they are very famous for their maternal behavior. Now it is very rare in tortoise for the mother to take care of their children. So females, that is Asian giant tortoise females, they build overground nests and they exhibit maternal care, which is very rare in tortoise. They even guard the nest after laying down of eggs. So this is a different behavior pattern that is witnessed in Asian giant tortoise, and you'll have to remember it. This is very important. Yes, good Rishi. Yes, Mahamim, Yashi, Madhubala, Sarang, opposite of nocturnal, yes. Baga, Sonu, Kharbudon, Gaurav, correct. Now the conservation status, they have been listed as critically endangered species because of their very low number. In CITES, they are listed in Appendix 2nd, and in WPA, they are listed under Schedule 4th. Now I tried to find a lot about these species in WPA. I did not find the names of it. So I have written Schedule 4 here. If in case I find something else, I will update it to you in the notes. So until then, please consider it as Schedule 4th. Now let me know the correct answer to this question quickly. They are the largest aquatic tortoise species. Did I tell you aquatic? I told you land tortoise species. So incorrect. It is known to exhibit maternal care or rate rate among tortoise. In India, it is primarily found in Western Ghats region. Again incorrect. I told you they are found in Northeast. So only one is right, and here we have to identify not correct ones. So 1 and 3 is not correct. Option C is the answer. कितने लोग का सही हुआ है? बहुत कम लोग का. This brings an end to our today's session. ATS live, you can go and download the notes. Right? आज बहुत जल्दी हो गया यार, 41 minutes. I should have included 1 or 2 more articles. I thought by looking at the number of slides, these would be enough, but sorry for you, it isn't. So we'll cover the rest of the articles tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a good day.